So you caught the last little bit of Tom's and my pre-show conversation. And welcome to everybody now joining us on YouTube, which was behind Facebook today. It's usually the other way around. Facebook kind of follows YouTube on going live. But anyways, you can see Tom Knighton, Bearing Arms, is joining us today. I seen an article that Tom wrote this morning. I shared it on Facebook earlier. But I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant because let me first of all get social media set up here, simply because I want your comments as we go through this. All right, and bring that up. There we go. So, Tom wrote today, there is some male of the human species that in Michigan very recently decided it would be a smart idea to do a Second Amendment audit. What that is these folks get kitted up in what looks like full battle gear that may or may not have the plates in the plate carriers and all that, but puts on two handguns, one on each hip, straps an AR to his chest, and goes walking around by a school. What this male of the human species is looking for is to draw attention of the police, which he certainly did. He also got the attention of the school system that went under lockdown for a while. And the other attention he got a bunch of attention. Everybody in that neighborhood who has a kid that goes to that school knew about it because they got a text from the school saying, we're on lockdown. And what did he do? Is he helping us at all? Mm-mm. He's hurting us. Anybody that got that text that may have been neutral on guns is no longer neutral. They are absolutely anti-open carry at the very least. And they may be for a total all-out gun ban because of one moron, and I will use that absolutely clearly, one moron in Michigan decided he wanted to make a name for himself on YouTube. Dude, I hope the 30 watches was worth it. Meanwhile, go back in your parents' basement, sell the AR, buy a car, and go drive for Uber. Make yourself a productive member of society. I want to go dovetail on this just a little bit, Tom. One of the things I say about the Second Amendment is that the Second Amendment gives me the right to anything from a Ruger 1022 to a fully operational F-22. So I should be able to go over to Lockheed Martin and hand them a check, and as long as that check clears the bank, I should be able to tell them, look, I want my F-22 delivered to the Sioux Falls Regional Airport on Thursday. Once I got that F-22, it would be insanely stupid of me to go flying that thing over the North Pole and buzz the tower at Moscow. It would not end well for me. Anybody that kits up with an AR-15 and a couple of pistols on their hips, it's not going to end well for you. And it's partially going to be your own fault because you're trying to egg the police on.
Yeah, it's you call him a moron. They are that. They're also an attention whore.
Yes.
Because this is what all this is about. It's mommy and daddy didn't love me enough, so now I'm going to seek validation and attention from some strangers on the internet. All right, look, I'm with you, Paul. You know, the Second Amendment lets me, you know, in pretty much any weapon system I want. I should be, if I've got the money to pay for it, I should be able to order it. You know, I want to be able to buy rocket launchers with Amazon Prime and have it delivered to my house in 2 days. What I want. But there's you have to have some courtesy, okay? You have to show some sense. And walking around strapped up, looking like you're going to war is not helping anybody, including yourself. Okay, it's not accomplishing a damn thing. All you've really done is show that you are functionally underdeveloped. Okay, I played it a little nice when I wrote. This isn't the first time someone a year or two back, right after the El Paso shooting, decided to do a Second Amendment audit, fully kitted up with an AR-15, and walked in a freaking Walmart. Could they be a tad sensitive? I mean, this was a matter of like a week or two after El Paso. And, I'm like, what? Yes, you have a right to do stuff. Just because you have a right to do stuff doesn't mean you should do it. All right? Amen. Do you have a right to walk around with your AR-15 and body armor and 2 handguns? Absolutely. But there's something called common courtesy. And it's just because I have a Second Amendment right, or let me rephrase that. I have a First Amendment right to call people all kinds of horrible names. The First Amendment protects my right to just be a complete jackass. I meet and call them insulting names. It's not a nice thing to do. Okay, it's not a courteous thing to do. Right? Just because you have the right to do it doesn't mean that you should automatically do it and it's automatically okay for you to do it. Walking down the street next, like 2 blocks from a school, at a time when people are really worked up about mass shootings, it's not helping. I know there's going to be some people out there that probably say, well, he's normalizing it. No, he's not, because nobody's going to do that on a day-to-day basis. Okay? If you want to normalize open carry, you put your sidearm in a nice holster, a safe holster on your side, and you go about your day. And you encourage other people to do it. Now, I'm not a huge open carry guy, but that's how you do it.
Right. You get a nice looking revolver with a nice grip, and make sure it's nice and polished up in a good quality leather holster. I would strongly recommend a thumb strap over the back of the hammer. Just in case you have to run for some reason, that thing doesn't come popping out. But yeah, get a good looking revolver with a good looking leather holster, or at the very least, if you're going to be open carrying, make sure it's some kind of retention holster. I do not recommend the Serpa. I think they are extremely dangerous unless you practice with them constantly with supervision from a professional trainer. I want to get to a couple of social media. John Petrillo, functionally underdeveloped. Yes, Tom. Where are we at? Bob brings up a great point. What one can do and one should do are not the same thing. And Gerald gets to what I was kind of referring to as a barbecue gun. A nice, really well-polished and functional revolver, or you could do a 1911, as long as it looks good and you have a nice-looking holster. My outside-the-waistband holster that I use for training, that I use for wintertime when I can carry outside the waistband and still have it concealed, that would not be an open carry barbecue gun holster, man. It's scratched up. It's
and there's all kinds of options for barbecue guns. I'm a CZ75 fan. CZ75B. Get a stainless one of those with some like really rips. I mean, that's just a sexy beast. And you put that in a really good holster. And if you're worried about getting, quick access, they make thumb brake straps where you can, when you put your hand on it, you can break that sucker with your thumb. It's a fraction of a second, and not really enough difference time-wise to your reaction speed.
Yeah, my open carry holster has a thumb brake, and it's designed for a Glock, a full-size Glock, the 17, 22, and whatever the 45 caliber model is. But all Glocks are the same form factor for the full-size ones. And so I know my holster will hold both the 17 and the 22, the 9 and the 40 models. That's what it's designed for. And mine, I am barely, but I am under a second from when the beeper goes beep and my first shot leaves the barrel. And it's got that, what am I trying to say? It's got the thumb retention strap, so. Let's see here. Where I kind of lost where I was at with the Rob Pincus. Should versus could is an important concept to understand in so many ways when it comes to gun issues. We have the freedom to be smart. Rob, I'm going to totally agree with you on that one, man. And I will fight for your right to make mistakes. If somebody wants to open carry, by golly, that should be absolutely permissible. You're going to get a lot of attention. And you should get a lot of attention from the police. They absolutely should come and check you out and make sure that you are okay and you're not going to start shooting things up. But I believe it should be your absolute right to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not a kind of guy, but you know, it's one of those that's something everyone's got to figure out for themselves. And you know, just because you disagree with me doesn't mean I'm going to think less of you, unless you decide moron who goes around town like you're going to war.
Robert Carrillo says, been watching audits for years, never seen one that helped the 2A cause. I'll second that. I haven't been watching them for years. I don't pay attention to them. I see them on Facebook and I'm like, there's another. But I'm going off on it today mainly because I seen Tom's article. And excuse me, somebody asked what I did. The comment, we're getting so many that the comment's gone, but somebody asked where in Michigan that was. Do you happen to remember, Tom?
Not right off the top of my head. It was a town I wasn't really familiar with. But I can't recall, you know, it wasn't like Lansing or, you know, Ann Arbor or someplace like that. But honestly, I've written so many stories since then that I remember writing the story and that's it.
Gerald says, open carry every day during hunting season, usually don't go anywhere. Store occasionally. And I want to, you know what? I want to make a distinction here. If you are hunting, yeah, open carry. I don't want to have to dig through a coat and layers of clothing to have to get my handgun out. Should that bobcat be really close and I don't have one levered into my rifle yet?
Yeah. Or I'd say if you're camping, same situation, you know.
Yeah.
Fishing even, you know, if you're doing an outdoor activity, you know, you know, what we think of as outdoors activities, you know, then yeah, that's fine. You're not walking around where there's a crowd of people. You're not doing it to get a reaction. And that's what these Second Amendments are. It's about trying to get a reaction. It's real life trolling.
Yes.
They're trolls who are trying reaction of the people around them. And then what they really want to do is they want to put it up on YouTube and have the Second Amendment community pat them on the back, say, now you're a good boy. And, you know, there's not been a single case of somebody said, you know, I'm really anti, but the way this gun guy is being treated, that's convinced me. That's convinced me I'm wrong. Never happens.
Rob Pincus came back and said open carry should only be done if you're at least 10 miles from a restaurant with the drive-through. You know, yeah. I mean, that covers about 99.5% of the United States is you're within 10 miles of a drive-through. Montana and Wyoming and western South Dakota and all of North Dakota accepted. But
I'd say that, I don't mind somebody open carrying because, like, they're in the process of getting their permit, but they need to carry a gun until they can get that, and open carry without a permit is legal where they're at. I don't fault someone for that. Stuff like that.
DJ Play Nice says CQB with a Bobcat, Paul. You know what? We've got him here.
We got him here too.
We're gonna have a Mag 40 with in what 4 weeks from today it starts, and we're gonna have 22 people in a pretty doggone rural area. I wouldn't imagine it would be a good idea for a cougar to come looking for lunch while we're out on the range in a few days, in a few weeks.
It depends on the cougar, Paul. Some of them are really nice women. Oh wait, you met a different kind of cougar.
I did. I
couldn't resist.
Wow. All right. Tony Novak says try that in Chicago. Yeah.
I don't want to try anything in Chicago.
No. Except
I haven't left anything in Chicago.
Yeah.
I did that.
DJ Playdice says they slide down in Nebraska too. We've got coyotes here. We've got in eastern South Dakota, which is and western Minnesota, which is really all I'm qualified to comment on for outdoor stuff. We got a ton of big cats in the western side of South Dakota, some in the east, but we've got coyotes and wolves that are not at all uncommon on our side of the state and in western Minnesota. I very much believe if you're going to be out in the woods, out in a nature area, it's not only your right, it's your responsibility to be armed. And I do not have a problem in the world with you open carrying. If that's why you're out, because let's face it, open carrying is a faster draw. But and I'm sorry for everybody who thinks who's used to me getting to the point quickly. My brain isn't working right yet. But I want to keep going back to if you're scaring people, you are hurting us.
And out in the woods, you're not scaring people. Generally, you might stumble up on someone and scare them accidentally, but I mean, it's you're not out there trying to freak the norms.
Gerald says I never carry my open carry my AR pistol. Good. That's and where do you get your holster for that, by the way? Those are big damn pistols.
You gotta have a low slung one.
Exactly. One of those.
Otherwise, you're never clearing it.
One of those holsters like for Han Solo.
Yes.
And I don't know who Rob's replying to, but he's replying to somebody. But he's saying, I don't know how you qualify it worked. I think a strong argument can be made that open carry delayed legislation. Okay.
And depending on where that is, that could be a valid point.
Yeah.
Some places it's a thing,
DJ Play Nice, and this is a good one to trigger off onto other areas. As always, regardless of the location or state of carry, situational awareness. Any trainer worth their salt, the very first thing they're going to talk about when they get you into a class is situational awareness. And the very last thing is they're sending you out the door to go back home after you've completed training. The very last thing they're going to be talking about is situational awareness.
If your situational awareness game is on, you'll never need the gun.
Mm-hmm.
In theory. I mean, it's nobody can be perfectly situationally aware, but if you've got it dialed in, you're going to avoid a lot more trouble than you ever would without it.
Mm-hmm. What's that
and
saying?
That's the goal.
I love that old saying, I've never lost a fight I haven't been in.
Yeah.
Wow, DJ Play Nice, drop holster, thigh strap, front brake holster, sweet rig, just add Wookie.
We should have done this episode yesterday then,
Yes.
It was May the 4th be with you.
Yes. Now it's Revenge of the 5th. Or no, it's the 6th all the way.
That's
already.
right.
So yeah.
It's still, this is the May.
All right, I'm going to have to, the software only puts part of it up, so I'm going to go ahead and read through the rest of Barry's comment. Wearing body armor with a rifle slung around your shoulder and a sidearm on your hip or chest is not a good way to promote 2A rights or normalize any type of carry laws. All you do is frighten those who aren't comfortable around firearms. From what I understand, my state, Maryland, surprisingly allows open carry of long guns, but I don't know a single person who does it in the state because of the anti-gun attitudes and the potential of being approached by police with weapons drawn. And that's Tom, let's talk about that too, because you're going to get attention from police.
Yeah.
And anytime there's a policeman with you and his hands are on his firearm, it's out here, the finger trigger extended outside, and if he's trained right, outside the trigger guard, it's still just one small movement, and all of a sudden, whoever's doing the audit has an extremely bad day, whether by design or not.
It makes a bad day for an officer because he put that officer in that position. Now, it's not purely his fault if the cop screws up. But I mean, okay, look, how long ago was it that we had an incident where a cop was yelling taser, 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 and discharged a Glock instead? They are people. Let's not put them in bad positions. Okay? If the officer comes up and tells you to put the gun down, you put the gun down. I don't give a damn about your rights. You can worry about that afterwards. Put the gun down, sort it out. Once they know you're not a threat, you're fine. But it's moronic to put yourself in that kind of position. And, something else you have to think about, you do this enough, suddenly open carrying a long gun is going to become illegal. Especially, like, say, where that gentleman was from in Maryland. They start banning that. And there's times you may need to open carry a long gun out in public, like, say, after a natural disaster, where looting and all this other stuff, and you're standing on your, standing in the yard with your, shotgun, trying to tell people to go loot somewhere else. Do you really want to, put people in a position where the moment they need to do something, they can't?
Yeah.
There's no reason.
I've and Susan can attest to this. I've said it a million times, and I've said it in the last couple days. I could never be a police officer. I don't have the attitude for it. I am way too impatient. The patience these people show is next to sainthood. And God bless every one of them that can do it. I wouldn't be able to. I'd have made it 2 months in, and I've caught a brutality charge.
My dad's a retired police officer. He did 20-something years of policing as police officer in Albany, Georgia. Worked his way up to sergeant. Later became police chief in Leary, Georgia. And I now understand why he didn't have much patience at home, because he had to use it all at work. He had trials.
Rob says California lost open carry of even unloaded guns because of shenanigans of confrontational OCers. Gee, confrontational people live in California? I would have never thought.
Yeah.
Couple things I do want to mention as we go out. Normally, I open the broadcast with a news segment of what's been making news lately. And as we're getting ready to shut down, we're only 4 minutes from the bottom of the hour. I want to mention that Texas Senate approved constitutional carry, permitless carry, last night. It's got some amendments that need to get worked out with the House. I'm waiting to talk with Rachel Malone. We'll be having her on in the very near future, I hope, to find out exactly where permitless carry is in Texas. Louisiana, believe it or not, is pushing really quickly towards permitless carry. I hope it goes well there. North Carolina is getting ready to get rid of their permit to purchase law. So,
yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on right now. All most of it good for us.
John Petrolino, man, Paul, you'd be a hell of a meter maid. No one would break parking regs. Oh, I don't know about that, man. I don't do
He just says that because he's in New Jersey.
Yes. Well, I think he's on a boat somewhere right now.
So it's safer for him.
Yes. Wow. All right. And then DJ Plain Ice, his usual comment, at least once a day, he says U.S. Capitol switchboard 202-224-3121. And I want to encourage everybody to go ahead and hit that number today because we still have not had the Senate move, but it looks like it's going to be sometime this week. The Senate's going to move on the proposed Biden administration director for the ATF. And David Chipman is who they proposed, and he is absolutely the wrong person to head the ATF.
Only way it could be worse is if they appointed David Hogg.
Yeah, yes. Yes, absolutely. All right. And Rob, incrementalism works for us, sometimes too, pushing forward inch by inch to regain lost rights. Rob, I'm going to agree with you, but the way we get inch by inch our rights back is through my boss normally, and that's the Second Amendment Foundation, Alan Gottlieb being the founder. We sue to get our rights back. Once they're lost, we very, very, very rarely get them back through the legislature. It happens, but generally we have to sue to get them back. I can think of the exception I can think to that is the permitless carry wave that's going on in free states. However, I don't see permitless carry going to New York except through the lawsuit that goes to the Supreme Court, and not even the current New York State Rifle and Pistol Association case. I don't think that one will get a shall issue throughout the nation if it goes our way, and I think it will in about a year. But I don't see permitless carry being the law throughout the nation until there's a lawsuit that gets it.
No, but I would love for that court decision, the majority opinion, what part of shine do you not understand? But realistically, that's not what we're going to see. And yeah, I think shall issue is really as good as we can hope for.
Yes.
Really, realistically, anything just not likely to come about.
Yeah, and there's going to be lawsuits after this too, because if the NYSRA case gets the opinion we're hoping for from the Supreme Court, and shall she becomes the law, New York is going to charge $125 a year with a requirement that you get $200 worth of training every year. And we're going to have to sue because that's onerous and puts regular people really, makes regular people really challenged, let alone the poor, to get and keep a concealed carry permit. And so, I don't see my boss's job going totally away anytime soon. I would all encourage everybody, please do join the SAF. It's $150 for a lifetime membership, $15 for a 1-year membership. And the vast, vast majority of the money from your memberships go to suing to get our rights back. We've got currently 35 active lawsuits throughout the nation. So, all right. I think when we're late. I'm shocked.
Yeah, that never happens with us, is it?
No.
It's just so unusual.
On the way out, Tom, Bearing Arms, anywhere else you'd like to plug, any of your other stuff you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, I've got a Substack where I don't generally talk about Second Amendment stuff, just politics in general, but some Second Amendment stuff creeps up in there from time to time. And that's at tomknighton.substack.com.
Okay. All right, well, folks, we are going to go ahead and set it aside here simply because it's time for me to go get some dinner. And come join me tomorrow. I do plan on, for the rest of this week, which is only tomorrow, at 5 p.m. Central Time, there will be another Daily Bullet. Lord willing, Monday, everything goes good at the doctor, and Monday through Friday next week, we will have a 5 p.m. Daily Bullet as well. So come join us again tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for commenting.